In the constantly changing world of fundability, the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs and real estate investors like us, ones who want to grow our businesses and who are tired of paying for really expensive alternative lending, how do we tap into the most inexpensive money available and do it without the hassle of typical borrowing? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Welcome to the Get Fundable podcast with your host, Merrill Chandler.
Welcome back, everybody. Merrill Chandler here, your host of the Get Fundable podcast. All right, I have got a treat for you. During this recording, the last few weeks, we have had this huge COVID-19 virus kind of just sweep the land and kind of rock the foundations of our insanely progressive time of prosperity, right, in the country. We had this 10 years blazing. The stock markets are up, home values are up, everything's moving forward. And I've been talking about a recession for over a year and a half now. I had no clue that it would be precipitated by a flu virus. So in light of this, I did a Facebook Live with Brad Burnett, my partner and chief funding officer, and we had this. It was originally to address the issues of how to prosper and how protect yourself during these times, and it was just too good. I have to share it with you. So when we come back from the intro, we're gonna drop right into the Facebook Live. I think it's even in midstream with Brad talking, but we're talking about how to kind of the doomsday protocols. But the thing is, the doomsday protocols are not just for when the bottom is falling out of the economy. It's how to treat your business, how to treat your fundability like an asset, and how do you protect that asset, and how do you slingshot into the future. So when we come back, we're going to dive right in there, and you're going to love it. It's how to implement the doomsday protocols and set yourself up to win during stressful times, whether it's global or individually. Enjoy.
And not be a complete jackwagon, for lack of a better phrase. And I mention that because, you know, I've seen it in our own grocery stores. I had to go to the store this morning, and I picked up, a couple things of hamburger, and we're going to make some enchiladas, no big deal. But there are still people in line stockpiling, even though the people at the grocery store are saying, please don't take more than you need. We're trying to keep things on the shelves for those people who need it. If you're not in immediate need, tone it down a little bit. And there's still people in that
takes 10 instead of 15. Emergency preparedness is one thing, but panic is another, right?
And that's the thing, right? People, and especially entrepreneurs, might get stuck. And I've seen it happen. The guy who bought a whole bunch of hand sanitizer and then tried to just jack it up to hyperinflated prices on Amazon, and is upset because Amazon stopped him from price gouging. Like, that's an entrepreneur who sees a need and begins to tackle it, but then, in my opinion, takes it just a little too far. Yeah. Right? If you want to sell it for a couple bucks more, I'm all for capitalism. Go for it. You had the idea, you jumped on the opportunity, good. But you shouldn't be selling a bottle of hand sanitizer for $200 and a roll of toilet, or a big thing of toilet paper for $300. That's now we're taking advantage.
Yeah, I have to tell you that this reminds me of I'm a history major, right? And I did a paper on Samuel Brannan, who was the first millionaire in California. You know how he made his millions in California? He was the guy who was selling the shovels and the picks to the gold miners who were, and it was a panic, right? This gold rush was literally tens of thousands of people come from the East Coast selling everything they had, and they were capitalizing on this, right? So panic comes in many forms, and there are people who are gouging. So, it's like Amazon is kind of the titan in the industry, but there is a little bit of self-policing going on in the gouging, right? So, well said.
Well, and that's one of the things, as entrepreneurs, we want to get into that momentum zone, right? We want to continue our business. And the key that I took away from listening and talking with Alex, it was the concept of processes, right? The best way to be able to make decisions in a crisis are to have processes in place that allow you to make clear decisions. And in fact, he gave five tips in times of crisis, right? And it's the 50,000 foot view. Analyze and look at your options, prioritize, commit to a plan, execute the plan, and then don't make new decisions while you're executing the plan, and then renew. And
Revisit it at every new threshold or new level or otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't have these processes, if you don't know how to put these pieces of the puzzle together, ask. I am happy to help with some coaching, with some guidance in a lot of the stuff we can help you with. And we only coach on what works. So definitely, ask the questions. We're happy to help. But you have to have those processes in place to be able to minimize all the noise and all the garbage that's going on around us. Because the reality is this, especially for entrepreneurs and investors, real estate investors, people who are accustomed to making decisions, taking action, a lot of time movement in activity becomes the misinterpretation of getting into momentum. So like people running out and stockpiling toilet paper, that's not getting them in momentum. The guy who buys all of the hand sanitizer, that's not getting into momentum. It's activity, it's action, but it's actually causing more noise. It's causing more pressure. And as entrepreneurs, we're either in momentum, we're under pressure, or we're spinning out. Right. And if you are in that space where you're spinning out because you don't know what to do, this is the process that you need to get into to help solve that uncertainty, right? Help solve the
So personal story. Brad and I talked about it with our team earlier today. So I've been a prepper for a zillion years, right? And the funny thing is I was in California, in Northern California, the Bay Area, when the freeways collapsed in the earthquake in the late 80s, and
early 90s.
Early 90s.
No, I was at Naval Hospital Oakland when it collapsed.
Right. Oh, okay. So, and this was huge. I mean, the buildings are swaying like in 30-foot spanses, right? And the thing was, in Guatemala, I was in Guatemala for in service in my teenage years, and I'm telling you, now that was just, you're literally riding waves of earthquakes. So I've always come out doing well, never had any harm. So of course I get a little cavalier, my whole personality type. But the thing is that I like something that's out of the norm, right? That's just how I do. Problem is that my way of being, I brought to my team, when we had the earthquake warning earlier this week, I believe it was on Tuesday, we had this earthquake warning. We're in the middle of a team meeting, and a couple people were getting panicked because we had an earthquake in the morning, and then another one was predicted for the afternoon. Now, some of the size of the earthquake was rumored too high. The rumors were that it was going to be a 9.0. Well, if you know the magnitudes of earthquakes, that's insane. That is like that's like house destruction level earthquakes. It ended up being a near 5, so which was just another rumble. But I was insensitive to my team, and I told them how to prepare, how to to protect their homes the best they could, with enthusiasm and excitement, not with a grounded, clear, and so I didn't go through the process that Brad's even going through. I was just all excited. And so part of making decisions in a crisis environment is to level head and be aware of your audience. Be aware. You could freak out your wife or your children. There's just a number of ways where we're insensitive to somebody else's experience and create even more problems or anxiety or stress than is ever needed. So Brad, these are great things, because I failed miserably just 3 days ago, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is first know your audience.
Yeah.
But then the other reality is you took steps and measures to be able to continue to be functional in a worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that if you don't do it as a regular process of your business, of your life. Tim Ferriss has a great podcast on this. It's about fear setting. And he practices, like, what's the worst case scenario? Could I live off of packets of oatmeal for 5 days if I had to? Different things like that.
Right.
What could I live sleeping on my floor if I wasn't able to sleep on my bed? Or what's your, that's the fear setting concept, where you practice and prepare yourself mentally
yes,
to be ready for the unknown. But most of us don't do that. But the B part of that is, in a time of crisis, right? As entrepreneurs, when we have something happening right now that we have absolutely zero control over, the government is now enacting quarantines, and they're starting to become more of a mandate than just a recommendation. Now,
it's 1 degree less than martial law, right?
Exactly.
And they call it social sequestering, which is a fancy term for non-troops, or not having troops yet in the streets
to enforce the curfew.
Right.
So we're close, right? Now, on one hand, I look at it and I go, I think our country's being a little bit cavalier in its response in many regards. Like the thing I saw about Florida and all the people on the beach, and like, what are we thinking? So I'm committed to, I have that 7 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon, right?
Right.
If somebody wants to come and visit us, because we just had a new baby. He's 3 weeks old. We're going on a month old here in a few days. And I'm going extra cautious. He might be the healthiest kid on the planet. He might be Superman and never have a cold in his life, but I'm not going to risk it. So when somebody wants to come and see him, I say, okay, who have you talked to? Where have you been? How are you feeling? And if they have been out and about, like I had some friends who went out to a bar the other night, and I'm like, oh, all right, so you guys are on the never show up list. Like, I'm sorry, you don't have any control over all the people you're around. So that's one of the things that in my mind, we've got to be prepared when we don't have, and this is a situation that is beyond what any of our expectations were, right?
Truly.
Like, I mean, we knew it could be serious. The math is in. I like science, and there's great ways to smash the curve and lessen the curve so that it's not as bad. But it's one of those things where if you don't know, as an entrepreneur, if you haven't taken the moment and just accepted that things have changed, right?
It's a little bit different today than it was last
business
week.
has shifted. But don't panic either in business, right? Because there are people who are suddenly saying, well, they're the other end of the spectrum of the hand sanitizer guy. They're saying, well, I'm just going to give you my product because nobody's going to buy it anyway. Now, if you have things you give away, give them away. If it's a lead magnet or if it's something like that, give it away. Or if it's a training that you give away, give it away. But if it is something that you don't traditionally give away, don't default to nobody will want what you have.
Yeah, the imminent collapse of the economy is here, and I've got this whole supply. I might as well just get it out from under me.
Yeah.
Because one of the greatest human foibles, right? The human personality is that what is happening today, it will happen forever. We believe that if good times are happening, we believe they're going to happen forever. If bad times are happening, we believe that it's going to be this way forever. The thing is that it does just like those earthquake faults that I was writing in Guatemala. It's just up and down. There's an oscillation between yay and oh Lord. So nothing lasts forever, especially this. We're going to recover, right? And there may be new social policy in place as a result. There may be great things. There may be worse things. I'm going to tell you one thing that we did in a podcast a while back, is that there is a significant wherever there's a new freedom, there's also a new and equal limitation. And there are so many opportunities while we're all sequestered at home in our different states or otherwise. Look for the opportunity that is now in front of you. What do you have time to do now that you didn't have time because your priorities were different? You were socializing more, or out and about more, or you're do whatever it was. But they come in pairs. Limitations and freedoms come together in pairs. So find out what those for your business, as Brad's saying, for your business, what is the new freedom that you have? We found some in our business. We found some that, because many of our real estate investor groups that we've met out in the world, many of them they're not getting together in group, right? They can't meet. All 50 or 100 people can't get together and hold their meeting. Well, we're already, for over a year, we've been offering online education, online meetings. We're pros at it now. So
if I can, just real quick, not just online education, online live education.
Live, yes, absolutely. So we're actually there, just like we're doing a Facebook Live here, the podcast. We're delivering valuable content to individuals who can continue to grow their businesses and their entrepreneurial endeavors. The cool thing is that we've already started to become the go-to, because we're prepared, because this is part of our delivery function. We're becoming the go-to. Say, hey, we can't meet. I hear you guys are available to do online live presentations. And we're like, well, it just so happens, yes, the 9th of April is available. We'd be happy to do one. So they're going to have it all on us, right? All of their people will join our platform, and we'll be able to interact in a way that they've never done before, but may change the way they educate forever now, right? Good things can come out of every situation, guys. And so find what new opportunities, what new freedoms are coming with this supposed limitation of being sequestered in our homes, et cetera.
Yeah, because that is the perfect example of you've got to be optimistic, right? Because commerce is happening. One of the biggest dangers that we could do as entrepreneurs, as business owners, is to go into that like that short-term thinking, like you were just saying, like this is how it's going to be forever. That short-term thinking, short-term planning, that leads to survival mode. And if we fall into survival mode, that's when we just spin off the rails, and it's completely counterproductive. It's completely counterproductive to being in any semblance of momentum in business, right?
We'll spiral down instead of expand and grow. Yeah, great point.
So I want to bring a tip and bring it back to the thing you have to do with the worst case scenario. What does that look like? Like let's walk through the steps so that you can figure out your worst case scenario. And you can do this in business and in your personal life. In
your personal life, absolutely.
Just for entrepreneurs, right? So number one, to know your worst case scenario in business, sit down and calculate what is, and do the math. Don't speculate. Don't guess. Well, I think I have. No. Do the math. Write it down. Use a spreadsheet. Use Google Sheets if you don't have Excel or numbers or whatever, but put it in a spreadsheet. And figure out what your business cash position is. What is your business cash position? And then what is your burn rate at your current level of business?
Yes.
How long can you exist if the cash keeps going out and your doors have to shut and you have no more business, no more sales, no more revenue from today on? How fast will you be out of that cash? And if you stop making money tomorrow, take into account how much of your personal burn rate comes into play. Like what is your personal life burn rate? And then, guys, we're talking. I call it your doomsday protocols, right? It's a little bit much, but whatever. A
Hey,
little
we'll take
hyperbole.
it. Hey, we had earthquakes. Let's use it.
Let's go for it. But if you look at your personal burn rate in addition to your business burn rate, there's going to be a point where like that's a magnified burn rate, right?
Yep.
So what is it if you end up cutting out all of your business burn rate? Now, I get that none of us want to think about that, but if we're talking 100% crisis mode, doomsday protocols, this is a possibility. It's a worst case scenario. So what's your burn rate if you get rid of all your business burn? So now we're just looking at personal burn rate. How long can you exist? And guys, I'll say it, that there's no shame in protecting your family
when sacrificing the business.
If you have to sacrifice the expenses of business, do it. Now, before you sacrifice, let's meet, let's talk, let's strategize. This is one of the biggest things I almost jumped ahead. Let me slow back down here. Figure out where you're at. Yeah, I know, right? Figure out where you're at with your burn rate. Then look at everything you're spending. Cut off anything you shouldn't be spending, because we all have things that you go in and you look at your statement, you're like, wait a minute.
Uber Eats.
That $14 for?
What's that? $140 for?
Yeah, and it's just going out every month, and you haven't paid any attention to it, and now you're like, oh, wait a minute, I should pay attention to that. Look at those things, and then look at what's mission critical. And this is where I would give a little bit of a warning, because there are people who aren't in business will oftentimes say, well, coaching isn't mission critical, or being part of a mentor group isn't mission critical. And I would like to challenge that, because in a time of crisis is the time you need the most help, not the least amount of help.
Correct.
And to be with somebody like Merrill, who went through 2008 and went through the financial crisis and did well and expanded and helped people and helped the community and was able to do more. That's the type of expertise that you want to be able to tap into.
I mean, we ourselves, you went to one of our coaches that we cold hard cash to onboard a brilliant business coach, and you went straight there for his coaching, and now we're all benefiting as a result of being able to be there, right? With we depend on our subject matter experts to help us with our business, and we encourage you to rely on subject matter experts who have financial. We did. Brad and I went through the 2008 together in this business, and we were able to literally save dozens and dozens of our clients who didn't have to lose their home to foreclosure, didn't have to do the doomsday scenario, because they had us as coaches for their in their lives, to protect their families and support their businesses. So do not just the first ones to go are not your group of advisors, right? Regardless of who's president, the group of advisors to keep somebody informed of the best possible decisions in every scenario, that's your key group. We're keeping ours, but they're the last to go if this were to continue to devolve into mayhem, because I want to know how to do a soft landing for my business. For my accountant is not going anywhere, and right? We want to know how to protect our resources the best we can. And I'm genius at fundability, and I am not a genius at every other thing in my life except for prepping. So we've got to make sure that you keep your people in play that can coach you and counsel you, so you can protect your family, because they have their levels of expertise that you and I do not.
Yep. And that's well said. I 100% agree with all of that. And then the last step, guys, is stop spending money. As entrepreneurs, especially, one of the mistakes and foibles of our existence is that a lot of times we believe that spending money is the way to get out of constraint. and get into that momentum zone. And it's not, right? It unless you're spending money purposefully in this time, and
investing, not spending.
The money has to be returning something. Like, for instance, and this, guys, this is the other piece of this puzzle where we're talking about have somebody you can work with that can help you have an aggressive plan to move out of this, right? And I'll lead into Merrill here in just a second, but there was a gentleman that Alex referenced who has worked in like hair care or some type of beauty products like that, and the need for that has slowed down incredibly. But in one of his coaching conversations, they said, well, you create cleaning, for hair already, right? So how much of a leap is it to create hand sanitizer? Could you create hand sanitizer and sell that? And the guy was like, absolutely. That would be a super easy pivot to start selling hand sanitizer. And like within the next few days, and this has all happened within a week, right? He completely pivoted what his product is, and he's shipping out 5 million units here in the next week. Could you do that? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And have the coaching team to be able to say, hey, what is the likelihood of us being able to do this, right? What are the pros? What are the cons? What's in our way? How could this benefit us? And what do we need to do to prepare for it? So, yeah, brilliant.
And even just the idea, right? Because that guy was looking at what can I do with shampoo? What can I do with my hair care? What can I do with these products? What can I do with these products? And he had such a narrow focus that it literally just took somebody saying, well, what about hand sanitizer? And he went, bing. Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Holy cow. And so he's going to continue to thrive. Now, stop spending money because you don't need to have unnecessary expenses.
On supercilious,
but when you stop spending money, don't stop paying your current obligations if you can avoid that. And I'm not saying to the degree that it's like 2008 where people were cashing in their stocks and their retirement funds to help pay for their mortgage because they didn't have any money coming in. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, and this may not be the popular opinion, and this is my opinion. This is the opinion of Brad. Nobody else. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not on anybody's team telling you this. If you are in a position where you have to cash in your retirement to try to save and do the honorable thing, give us a call and talk to me, and we'll talk what the advantages and possibilities with the bankruptcy are and the different types of bankruptcy that might save you from decimating your retirement accounts.
Yeah.
Because that to me becomes the unconscionable. That should never happen. But if you can pay your obligations, you want to keep doing that, because Merrill mentioned this in our conversation earlier today. When it's time to start climbing out of the hole, how do we do that?
How deep is the hole? How deep is the hole did you actually create for yourself before we start climbing out?
Well, and how do we climb out?
Yeah.
How? Merrill, I'm giving it to you, man.
Here's the handoff. No, the point
of tool.
Yes, the tool that we describe the tool as creating and maintaining and actually leveraging your fundability. But fundability, we simply mean that what are you in a position that a lender will trust you with their funds? Now, there are going to be all kinds of programs that are starting to come out. We just learned that you don't have to pay your taxes until July 15th is the due date, right? There are yesterday we did a Facebook Live about a moratorium on a cessation of interest until further notice on student loans. There's going to be some economic things that are occurring, but you can make short-term decisions that can impact you for literally 7 to 10 years. And so what Brad's saying is, if you can, if stop spending I don't want to say foolishly, but stop spending non-strategically. But
non-mission critical
expenses
or life critical.
Yeah. But if you can continue to pay your credit accounts, especially the accounts that end up on your credit report, those are the first ones that are most important. If we're going to look at the bullseye of fundability, maintain your auto loan, your mortgage, your credit cards. And as I've said in a couple earlier this week, make sure that you do not pay the minimum payments. If you want to conserve capital and not pay it off, okay, if we, like I said, call us, we so we can strategize, but do not make the minimum payment, make $2 or $3 or $5 or $6 more than the minimum payment, because what you want to do is, and we can get into this later, our boot camp is all about these kind of strategies, but you want to not pay the minimum payment ever. So if you're trying to conserve capital and conserve your cash flow, but make sure you pay those credit accounts by the date and the time and that they're due. Then what you're doing is you're continuing to give a message that you are prioritizing money that has been given to you by lenders. You're prioritizing that even in times of stress. How does a lender feel about you as a borrower if stress comes in to the economy and you continue to maintain those accounts? Your rating with them, what's called a borrower rating, continues to increase. There's always opportunity in crisis and stressful situations. And one of them is, hey, this borrower just killed it with us. They totally took care of our interest. They had our back, says the lender, and we will have their back as a borrower. So one of the things, the reason why I said how deep is the hole we made, is that you can make decisions right now that where this could be a little bump, or you could be in a chasm, a gargantuan hole that you have to climb. You're going to climb out regardless. But is it going to cost you 7 years of bad credit and unfundability, where lenders are not going to touch you for 4 to 5 years minimum, just because you said, I'm not going to pay my bills? Okay, so prioritize, as Brad has gone through, get rid of the unnecessary expenses. Focus on the things that are in your we're currently reporting on your credit report. Make sure you're paying those bills, and then make sure or negotiate with payments like your cell phone and all those things. If you don't pay those for a certain period of time, they're going to end up as collections, right? But those collections are worse. I mean, you're going to take a hit on your score, but they do not count as much against you as a Chase late pay or a mortgage late pay or an auto loan late pay. So I personally would take a collection over a late pay any day. You hear me? Not a collection from Chase or any of your credit cards or your auto or mortgage. I'm talking about your service provider stuff, your utility bill, those things. Right now, we got to keep our lights on, but there is a and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to continue to hold these meetings, and we're going to be sharing later about there's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Well, there's a hierarchy of fundability and finances, and we're going to be sharing that later. So just stay tuned to people who know at least what makes you fundable and how you can use these strategies to protect your finances over the long haul.
Yeah, well, and one added piece to that, guys, is especially now where the conversation is at the highest levels as far as how do we get through this with the least impact on business and on human life, right?
Yeah.
Before you get to that point of that late pay or not being or going late, call your lender. I would encourage you to, in your worst case scenario, figure out all your expenses and then start calling them and going, hey, do you guys, I need some help. My business is slowing down. I'm not getting a paycheck or whatever it is, but give them a call. Now more than ever, they will be amenable to the possibility of helping you out. And what that looks like, I don't know. It might be a moratorium on your payments. It might be dropping your payments. It might be dropping interest like they're doing with the student loans. I don't know. But call them. Have the conversation. Don't be the ostrich.
Yeah.
Don't stick your head in the sand and go, it's not happening to me, because it is.
That's brilliant, Brad. Because in that, and remember, we've talked about this in previous. Go down in our feed, guys, and look at the previous Facebook Lives we've done this week, because we've addressed some of these. But it is important to know that making a payment, or if they say we're going to forgive a payment and put a moratorium on those, make sure that you also ask, is this going to harm my credit report? Right? Because some lenders may count on you not knowing that there's a difference. Oh, thank you, cash flow, save cash flow. But over here, you now have a 7-year, 90-day late on your Chase card, and they close your account, and now you've lost all this valuable stuff that's going to be, you're going to need it later on in the future. This is the world is not going to crack in half and dissolve away. We're going to be back up, just like the massive crash of 2008. We had the greatest run up of economic strength in the markets for 10 years straight. So this is an opportunity. So let's plan smart. Let's plan for 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 24 months from now. Let's establish strategies that are going to help us minimize the negative impact here in today, and maximize our leverage in the future. We will rebound, right? In team today, Brad, because I signed off on one of my, I think the last 2 or 3, I always said, we're in this together. We're all in this together. And he started playing a song from High School Musical. So yes, we are in this together, but use your coaching teams to establish a progressive and well thought out plan for you. Clients who are watching, talk to your advisors. They're ready to establish these kind of emergency plans for your particular case. Students, we're here. Ask your questions on funding hackers. Come to the boot camp that we're holding on April 18th and 19th. Come to the boot camp. Let's circle all the wagons.
Say those dates again, looking into the mic or talking to the mic.
Oh, sorry. So we're going to April 18th and 19th is our next boot camp. If you haven't gone to the boot camp, go to getfundablebootcamp.com and check out how to register. Those of you who are already funding hackers, let's circle the wagons on this boot camp and talk about how to prosper in these times, not recoil, throw up our hands, and fade away, harming our family, our loved ones, and especially our future. You guys don't even, I wished you knew that you have total power over your future. If we plant the right seeds right now, they're all going to grow and blossom over the next 6, 12, and 24 months when all of this is done. So let's do that together. I'm telling you guys, we will knock it out of the park. So that's getfundablebootcamp.com, and just check out how to register. And for those of you who are already our students and clients, man, we're circling the wagons, and we're going to have some more great stuff for you.
Well, and before we sign off, I want to go back to the comment or to the thought about calling your banks and then asking, making sure this doesn't impact your credit. Also, if they allow you to skip a payment, one thing, just another thought to that is make sure you're talking to the right person, because it may not be that they have any nefarious intent. Right. It may not be that they're like, oh, yeah, this is going to allow them to default so that now I can charge them 29% interest instead of 18%. That may not be the case. But what might also happen in real time is they have automated systems that they forgive your payment, but they don't communicate that with their automated system. Right. And that automated system then does its job and 30-day late.
Reports you delinquent, correct. So that talk to the right people. And as we say to everybody, whenever talking to your lenders, call until you get the same answer 3 times to your question. Yep. So you got to get until you get the same answer 3 times. That means it's probably true. And brilliant, Brad. Make sure that not only are you talking to the right people, but they're doing the math on their end. That's why we got to ask. Payments are different than how they report. So brilliant.
Yeah. And just a side note, I just pulled up Facebook. Kirk says, shaken, not stirred. Glad you're all safe.
Kurt, I love it. Well done. Okay.
All right. So last reminder from my side, and then I think we're signing off. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you need help with, and this is something that's a little different than our normal coaching that I'm putting out there, and I'm going to ask Merrill for forgiveness rather than permission on this one. But if you need help doing the analyzing of your business, that prioritize those 5 steps that I talked about, reach out to us. If we have to do a webinar, we will.
We will do a webinar.
Yep. But reach out to us, because there's more to it than just analyze. There's a specific way to do it. That's a process that allows you to get out of your own way, get out of that spin, and actually get out of the constraint and the noise and get into momentum. Get in that momentum zone. Yeah. And so do that. We can talk about personal stuff too if you want to talk about the way to use this in your personal life. But other than that, guys, get out there, do some movement outside, get some sun if you can.
Yeah, it helps with your serotonin. It helps with your mood. Right?
Helps with your mood. I mean, vitamin D helps strengthen your immune system. Right. So be smart. Thanks for letting me jump on this Facebook Live with you, Merrill. And I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Keep watching. And make sure that you've liked our pages so that you're getting notifications of when we go live, because every single time I've got 3 on deck already. We may go to 2 a day for a couple of days because I don't want to put these off because the announcements keep coming out. So one quick announcement is, as I said, they're suspending the requirements to file your taxes but on April 15th until they're suspending it until July 15th. So keep in tune, guys. Keep in touch and let us know. GetFundableBootcamp.com if you want to join our consortium of people who are already working on their fundability in this time of opportunity. Okay, so you guys have a spectacular day, and we'll catch you probably on Monday unless an emergency happens and I get on over the weekend. But peace and have a great day, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Get Fundable podcast. Please leave comments because Merrill would love to read about your aha moments from this episode. And be sure to visit getfundable.com to read our blog, get important links, join our community, and much, much more, like ordering Merrill's tell-all book that is changing the world, The New F Word. And you got to tell your friends about this podcast because we want them to get fundable too.